And don't forget too that if you are planning to watch the replay, that you can pop comments in below, you can pop information in, and we will go back and check that out after the live has finished. So all good. Rightio. So Karen Galbraith is a business owner of 27 plus years. She has owned a bricks and mortar business. She has been at the forefront of women's networking and business networking in general, and puts down her success to the fact that she is very much a networker and supports women in business. Karen has moved her business from inner city, I suppose you'd call it, to further out. So she's had to rely on networking to start building up a clientele in a new area as well. So Karen Galbraith, Connect Her leader, also event development coordinator, and successful body and soul business owner. Welcome to Connect Her.
Thanks, Lee. Thank you.
Yes, it's sorry.
Very lengthy introduction, so thank you. Yes.
It was because you've got such a wealth of knowledge and so much information to share, and you're one of my favourite people to spend a lunch and learn with, because I do learn a lot from you as well. So today we're looking at how to be present when you network. First of all, I mean, I've given a bit of an overview of you, but just give us a little bit of information about you and your business and where you started and where you are now.
Yeah. So I guess for my business, I've been a practitioner. I'm a remedial and massage practitioner and reflexologist with nearly 28, 29 years or something. Had a bricks and mortar business, but due to family circumstances, I sold the business last year and had to reestablish myself in another area. Now, originally when I started in the country, and then in 2004, I moved down to Melbourne, and that's when I started another business doing natural health as well. And so, but what I discovered when I moved from the country to the city, it's very different to working in the country where people know you. Everybody knows who you are and what you do. In the city, you have to get out there and meet people and network with people. And that was a completely different sphere of developing my business that I hadn't experienced before. So I went through a lot of learning about, the benefits of networking, how to network, how to approach people. I mean, it really puts you out of your comfort zone. And
it does, doesn't it? Because I know I came from corporate, and I didn't even know what networking was. Like I didn't even know it existed. No. And all of a sudden you're thrown into this atmosphere of the new girl on the block, because I used to go to like council events that and they were big events, like there'd be 50 or 80 or even 100 women plus, and you'd sort of walk in and I would be so nervous, my palms would sweat, and I would literally stand in the corner because I didn't actually know what to do, which sounds silly, but I didn't know what to do.
How to make how to make the first approach to the first person, like that sometimes is quite intimidating in those big networking events. And like you have the council lunches for women or even a big BNI meeting where there's 30 odd members. If you're going in there and you don't sort of know anybody, it's quite intimidating if you haven't experienced that before, or you haven't got someone on your side.
Yeah. So you found you had to really learn how to network when you moved from the country to the city.
I think it's definitely a skill that you develop over the years, and you learn different things and different ways to approach other business owners, whether it's male or female. And it's quite different. But people don't know you. Yeah, so they have to get to know and like you. Know, like, and trust, as we say.
And that's exactly right. And, you know, I could talk underwater with a mouthful of marbles and still keep the conversation going. But I'd go to one of those networking events and I literally would be in the corner thinking, I just don't know what to say and I don't know what to do. And back in those days, even mobile phones weren't, you know, that trendy to have out, you know, flick through. But so yeah, it can be a huge challenge for sure. So so how did you overcome that?
I guess I watched other business owners. I spoke to different people. I got an opportunity to attend some events where they talked about how to network, and that was really valuable. You know, it's not just to know your story, and it's not always about you. I guess the first thing I learnt to do was to be able to approach somebody in the room and ask them about their business. So take the pressure off me trying to sell myself by talking to them and asking them about their business and what they do. I think that's a really good icebreaker.
Absolutely. And you really hit the nail on the head when you are being interested, not interesting.
Yes.
I love that saying, because if you can start asking people questions, that the people love to talk about themselves.
Yes.
You know, it's like their number one, you know, the subject that they know the most of and the most about. So they love talking about themselves, and it breaks that ice, and eventually you can counteract your timidness or unsure approach just by mirroring, you know, some of the ways that they've answered their questions too.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So I guess that was a really big step for me, was to be able to go into it, like you said, one of those big rooms of different people, and approach someone that I had no idea who they were and talk to them about their business. It's a really good icebreaker. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you moved up to the city.
Yes.
And you had to establish yourself with in a new business.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us about that and how you've managed to, you know, you built a very, very strong clientele, which I know you still see a lot of your clients
still do.
that you had originally. Yeah.
And it's still, I still have contact with some of my clients from the country. So that we're going back, you know, 28 years, 27, 28 years.
We're going back years.
I still am only 21, so I don't know how I did it.
Yes,
so I'm still in contact with a lot of them. I guess I use the similar type of approach to my clients as I do to networking with other business women. I like to engage and talk about them. Right. So it's all about how I can help them. And that's what I like about running networking meetings or running networking events, is talking to other women and helping them grow their business. So I started off just with local networking, and I was based in Mount Waverley. So Mount Waverley have a great networking business section,
community sort of
community within, for women and for general business. So I became part of that. Always went to their meetings and their luncheons and networked with them, and also outer on the other side, the Knox area as well. I did a bit there. And then I opened up I got an opportunity to take over from Rosemary Mulcahy, Heartlink in Mount Waverley. So I was very lucky to take that over, and kept growing and getting connected with other women in business and getting my name out there, getting, you know, as well as getting a reputation as being a reasonable therapist, I say.
I like the fact that you've used the word reputation, because a reputation can precede you, and you want it to be a good reputation. with somebody that is, reliable, that is consistent, that is, does what they say they're going to do, and authentic. And I know authentic gets battered around a lot these days, but I really do think that authenticity, reliability, and consistency are just like key attributes of a good networker.
Yes, yeah. Because you can't just go to one meeting and expect someone to know, like, and trust you. They have to see you turn up on a monthly basis, and in some cases on a weekly basis, depending what networking you belong to. But you've got to be there. You've got to be on time. You can't be late. You've got to have everything prepared. What do you want to achieve when you go to that meeting? What message do you want to get across? And don't make it an hour long. It's got to be concise and specific. And
I think that's where Connect Her really helps women in business, because we have that 2 minutes time to shine at the beginning of the meeting. And this is where you can get your, some people call it an elevator pitch, or, your story. But if you can get that 2 minutes down pat, the rest of the meeting is taken care of with, learning more about each other. But it's that 2 minutes of really being succinct in what you do.
And by being really specific about what it is you want to get across in that 2 minutes, like most networking events have that type of thing, is really that will intrigue someone. That will spark someone's interest. That's your opportunity to get across to them that you've got a service or a product or something that they might be interested in using.
Absolutely. And I always talk about, I had one lady that used to come to my events. She came for about 6 months, and I still never actually knew what she did. She used to use all these big words about how it would help, your health, but I just never actually got it, even though I tried. And so that means, if that happens, if somebody knows you for 6 months and they've had connection with you, they've had, coffee catch-ups or chats or whatever, and they still walk away, it means that you've got to start not using company jargon, not using jargon that you use within your own business, but being really clear and almost bringing it, you almost have to sometimes dumb it down to lowest common denominator. And I don't mean to sound awful, but, if someone says to me, oh, I help women come in touch with their inner woman, or that, I don't know what that means. I want someone to, be really specific. Maybe that's just me. That, the more specific you are, the more I know who to connect you with, and the more I know whether I'm going to be able to use your service. That's so, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You've got to be more specific about what it is. Like, if you're going to be too airy-fairy, then people aren't going to understand. So, and they don't want to embarrass themselves by asking the silly question. Yes, I understand that, but what is it you actually do? I mean, because some people might get offended by that. It's like, I need more. I'm sort of, yes, I'm a big picture person, but if I want to look into something that's a little bit left of centre, I want to know specifically, well, what tool are you going to use? How are you going to use it? And what's it going to do to my body and all that? So it's got to be very specific as to, how it's going to help or what it's going to do for me.
Yeah. I have to agree there. Yeah. Absolutely. So what's another golden Karen Galbraith tip?
Follow up.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
Follow up. You get an opportunity to meet someone at a networking event or monthly event or whatever event you're involved in. You've got to follow up. You've got to keep in touch, whether that is via email, whether it's Zoom call that we have to participate in at the moment, being in lockdown in Melbourne, or have a coffee catch up, whatever it is, just keep in touch, and if they ask a question or, they're interested in some sort of information, make sure you follow up that day or the next day, within 24 hours, I say. You know,
Yeah.
you've got to keep
And
following.
there's also the 72-hour rule with follow-up that, if you miss that opportunity within that 72 hours of connecting once or twice, twice is preferable, that it will go from a warm lead or a warm connection to a cold lead or a cold connection. So, and look, I have to say I'm guilty as well of not always following up. I, get caught up in the mess that is my desk and think, oh, gosh, I should have contacted them. Even if it's after the 72 hours, it's better to contact somebody, because you actually are better than anybody else in the meeting if you do follow up, because most people actually don't follow up. They do it because they get nervous, they get scared, they forget, they get busy. And all of a sudden a week goes by and they think, oh, gosh, I didn't follow up. So they don't. And then all of a sudden we're going back to that key area that we were talking about at the beginning, which is being authentic, being reliable, being consistent. You actually don't show that.
Yes, you're not showing that at all. And often they're the times that you actually get to really know someone and know about their business, because you've got more of an opportunity to go in depth and talk about what it is that you do and what it is that they do. And that's when your joint ventures can come in. Amazing the different people that you can connect with, and you go, oh, okay, we might be able to work together and create an event or some sort of service or community or whatever it is. Joint ventures come out from those type of connections when you actually get out of the actual networking meeting and follow up.
Yeah. Networking events are great, obviously, because, Connect Her run them. But, so we've got to make sure that they're great. But, the 2-minute time to shine, it's your speed dating pitch, basically. The synergy circle, where we actually get to brainstorm in that, we get to show a little bit more of ourselves, and the same with our our topic of the month. We get to show a little bit more, but we don't show the whole story behind us in our business. It's what you do between the meetings, which is the most important. And I think one thing that I've learned over years and years of networking is, there's some people that you don't see them from month to month. They just disappear. I don't know where they go, but they disappear, and then you see them the next month. And to me, they've wasted the opportunity of actually why they're networking.
Why they're networking, because it's not just to go to a monthly meeting and just, I guess, talk about what your business is. If you don't follow up, you don't get an opportunity to expand your business.
Yes, absolutely. And as we both know, nobody goes to a networking event with the idea of going to purchase something.
No.
But everybody goes, or not everybody, but a lot of people go to the event with the anticipation of selling something.
Yes.
And really what you're selling is yourself and your authentic self and your reliable self and your committed self. That's what you're really selling. It's not, you could have the best product in the world, but unless you are selling yourself, because people buy from people, they don't buy from companies.
That's right. Yeah. So,
across and you would be exactly the same across the board of all of our Connect Her events. You see lots of Arbonne representatives, and you see lots of Intimo representatives, or which one do you pick? Yes, you're buying the product from the company, but you're actually buying the product and service from the person. So it's the one that's showing up regularly, the one that is there consistently,
the one that you connect with too. So,
absolutely.
That's why, and that's why the follow-up is good, because that's when you get to connect on a deeper level, I guess, and you really get to know the personality and the person, and we can it just that's what makes a difference. So, you know, I guess a lot of us have used intimate bras.
Absolutely. Got mine on right now. Love it. Very comfy. So now the other thing too, Karen, that we talked about recently when we were having a meeting within the leaders is the presence, you know, being present at a meeting. And it is so hard at the moment with particularly Victoria. Everything is virtually online. I know people are starting to get a little bit sick of it. We've got venue-based events happening in Tasmania and Western Australia, which are really fantastic. But it's about the presence, and it is personified when you start going on to Zoom calls, because you know that somebody is not really present when they're here typing away on another screen, and all you can see is that. Or, you know, they've got the baby crying and they're trying to, you know, placate them. Or so what do you have any suggestions on how people can be more present? Particularly, let's look at Zoom meetings, and then we'll also look at the venue-based events as well.
Do I have any ideas? Let me think about that for a second. I think it's like any sort of networking event. You've got to, if you want to get across what your business is and what your product is and what your service is, then you have to be respectful of the other people that are in the meeting. And you never know what little gem they're going to drop. And you go, oh, I know someone who actually needs that, or I know someone who wants that. And if you're not present, if you're not focused, then you miss it, you know. And it's like, be respectful of the people that are attending, and focus on, just keep focus, you know. And children are a no-no. I make sure mine are at kinder.
Yes, unless of course you're going to a networking event that they have opted in that you can bring children. You know, there's different events out these days. I don't think there's as many as there used to be, where you could mums and bubs. Maybe that's something we should be offering with Connect too. I am not putting my hand up though. For those that are listening, I don't have children, and I'm not very good with them, so I'm not putting my hand up for a Mums and Bubs Connect her. But if anyone's listening and would like to pursue that idea, there you go. It's not going to be this little black duck. Oh, that's just too funny. So yes, so you are right. And the other thing too is like turning your mobile phone off. Another thing as well. So, or down, you know, just turn it to down. And, you know, I've had where I've been running a networking event and someone said, look, I have got an urgent situation with a client. I need to keep my mobile phone on, and I may have to turn my video off and deal with that and then come back. And I think that is like really respectful to the leader and respectful to the people that are attending the event, that you let them know beforehand that is the situation. And let's face it, business and clients are super important. Like, that's why we network. So you don't want to be giving up, you know, that option.
I think at one stage we had someone who was trying to close a deal for settling a house, and they were on, you know, and that's the sort of thing that you can't just put off and say, I'll answer that in an hour, when, you know, the bank's wanting or something. So I know there's other personal things come in too.
Absolutely.
Very parents or something.
Yes, exactly. Now, the other thing, Karen, is that because we normally run a lot of our events, or the majority of our events are venue-based, and we do have the fact that in Western Australia we are running venue-based events, and in Tasmania, and I've got some news, we are about to launch Devonport in Tasmania. So that will be in November. Again, they are venue-based events. So obviously there's still some scope around being present at an online, not just online, but also at a venue-based event. One of the things that I think is really important is, if any event, doesn't matter whether it's Connect Her or any, being present is also, if there is a timeline of, like with ours, our Connect Her, Your Time to Shine, it's 2 minutes. I think being present is also knowing that the time has gone off, my 2 minutes is finished, and I'll have time later on. So I think that's also, whether it be venue-based or online, is another sort of area that you could throw into that presence type of scenario.
I think most networking events are like that. And I think the trick with that is to be able to beforehand be really clear about what message you want to get across at that particular time. Be specific, be clear, and get it across. And that way you're not going to go over. What are the benefits? What is it going to do? And then 2 minutes. It's ample time to entice someone to go, oh, I want to know about that more.
Well, some meetings, different events, it's 45 seconds or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So, to get 2 minutes is a bit of a bonus. So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing too is, again, making sure that your phone is not, going to be ringing or buzzing, so that you are present and really listening to the other people that are at the event, because they will have been given your undivided attention. So you want to make sure that you do the same in their time as well.
Yes. And also, then when we sort of move on to our topic or synergy circle, be engaged. Be a participant. Give it. If there's no opinion that's wrong or right, it's just an idea. Share your ideas, share your knowledge. That's really important to be, when you're part of a networking event, is to be able to share. Don't keep your information secret, because, when it's shared, it just empowers everybody.
Yes. I have to say, I have got so many fantastic tips and tools and ideas and information from Synergy Circle, where I haven't put anything in. I've just been listening on, or I've dropped into a meeting and I've dropped in right on Synergy Circle. And because it's that ideas exchange, I have just got a notebook. I can't put my hands on it right now, but I have a notebook of some amazing things, little tips or little tricks of the trade, or little apps or websites and things that have really, really benefited my business. And including, I just recently posted that, we just received trademark on the Connect Her logo. And I was inundated with private messages from people saying, should I be, doing my logo? Should I be trademarking my logo? So it's just opening up conversation, opening up ideas, and, things that you may not have thought of, other people may have done. They may have experienced that that wasn't worth it, or that was worth it. And so it can actually save you a whole lot of time.
And money.
And money, yes, very true. Very, very true. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, somebody who's made that mistake before will share that information and knowledge, and you'll go, okay, I'm not going to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then again, there's other things that can help and grow your business,
Exactly.
That we've come across. It's just amazing.
It's fantastic. And what rings someone else's bell might not ring yours, but you might need it, and they'll be just blown away with it, and they'll share it because they love it, and there's that referral system happening, or they refer people. So absolutely. So our key takeaways today, I think, are being prepared, whether it be for your 2-minute topic, one of the things that we have introduced in 2020 is your best connection.
Yes.
in Connect Her, which at the end of the meeting, you get to share with everybody who your best connection is for the month. So for the next 30 days, who can we keep an eye out for? And so that's another being prepared, is being really specific. Who is it that you want to be connected with this month for the next 30 days till the next meeting?
Yeah.
And that's been quite a challenge for some people.
Yes.
To bring it really down to specifically.
A specific, yes. We'll work on them. But we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get some tips going.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got number one is being prepared.
Be prepared.
Yeah, so be prepared. If you're going to a venue-based event and you use business cards, make sure you've got enough business cards or samples. If you take samples to a networking event, some people do. They've got samples with their business. They'll take them. So being prepared. Follow up. Oh, my gosh, I so love that.
Yeah, definitely. Follow up. Yeah.
Yeah, follow up and stick within that 72-hour rule at the latest, but try and make it 24.
Yeah.
We also had being present and engaging within a meeting, being engaged within the meeting and being respectful of people.
I think be a participant. Yeah.
Absolutely. Participant is a good way. And finally, last, so we had being prepared, being engaged, being a participant, and following up, being authentic, you know, being the real you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Excellent. Well, I think we have covered a whole lot of good stuff with our Connect Her Lunch and Learn. So if you would like to connect with Karen, you can actually go to her website, which is body-and-soul.com.au. All these details will be in the show notes, as well as across the what we've got on screen now, which will also be on YouTube and IGTV. Don't forget too, you can also go to our events page and catch up with Karen at any of her 3 events that she runs, which is Mornington, Officer and Cranbourne. And you do that as a combined. And I normally call them Cranbourne, Officer, Mornington. So I remember them. And that is actually coming up next Wednesday.
Yes.
So, yes, you've got that event next.
Attendees too next week. So I'm very looking forward to that.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So head over.
One now.
Yes, make sure. And don't forget too that in October we've got our Connectober with our little hashtag. So you and a first-time guest can attend an event and you get 25% off when you buy the connected ticket. So that's also available at Karen and all of our events actually. So, but don't forget, if you do want to connect with Karen, it's body-and-soul.com.au. Karen, I want to thank you so much for coming on at short notice too, I might add. You got a desperate call from me yesterday. Can you please come and help me out? And I just really do want to thank you so much for that. So,
got something out of it, you know.
Absolutely. I think even if people take away just one thing and implement it, it can make a huge difference. Absolutely.